Hi folks, how you doing? These are my three Lima diesel locomotives. I've got the Class 55, the Class 33 and the Class 156 TMU. Now the 55 and the 33 both suffer from, let me just demonstrate this, they both do the same thing. When you turn the power on, they start to buzz and then they suddenly go. You know, they don't pull away very slowly. So I have got a CD motor conversion kit that I'm going to do on the Class 33. Just for a bit of fun. I'd be very surprised if this actually solves the problem, but you know, maybe the CD motor's got a bit more torque and it might just work. But I've got a funny feeling to get these to pull away as nice and slowly is going to require a little bit of re-engineering on the chassis and the axles. So I'm going to do the CD motor conversion on the 33, partly just out of curiosity. I'm just very interested to see what difference it would actually make, not just to the pull away, but also just the noise in general running. So let's get at it. Okay, the kit I'm using is the ones you can get from Strathpeffer Junction. Strathpeffer's up northeast of Scotland. It's a lovely little town. If you're ever up that way when we're back to normal, give Strathpeffer a visit. It's a lovely wee place. Right, what we got. You can check the Strathpeffer Junction YouTube channel out. Packing slip and some instructions, I think. An actual motor, which is a little CD motor, a couple of gears, and the casing, and some heat shrink insulators. I've also got a little diode, and what this does is it reduces the voltage going into the motor, because these are 6-volt motors. I'm putting on a 12-volt track, so they're sold out of the 12-volt ones, but you can use these if you use a little diode just to reduce the voltage going into the motor. Otherwise they just run really fast, and they probably wouldn't last all that long if you ran your locomotive at full speed, which I never do anyway, so I think I'd probably be fine without it, but I thought for what it costs, we'll put the little diode in. Right, okay, the 33, been in here a couple of times, so get the thumbnail under, and that should just pop off. And there is the great big weight. And I'll undo this clip. And undo these screws. So apparently this conversion is perfectly undoable. You can put it back to how it was if you prefer. So it's not as if we're going to do any permanent damage or alteration to the chassis or the motor or anything. So okay, comes out like that. This should be reasonably straightforward. On the 55 you've got a middle wheel, and it's awkward, I would imagine, to get the motor out, but this should be straightforward enough. So I'll take the brushes out, and then we'll remove this front plate, which I'm probably going to have to desolder the wires from. Right, so we'll take this clip out as well. And remove the gears. So with this motor I can just lift the entire armature out and put it to one side, because hopefully we won't need it anymore. I think what we'll do is we'll take this pickup out, get that completely out of the road just now, and then we should be able to get a screwdriver up behind here and start to get this out. There we go. So there's the ringfield magnet. Right, so we've got a nice empty casing. So these wires want to go up through the top over this bit, like that. So that then sits in there, and then that fits in place of the original motor. So that's just a little trial fit. We'll need to push it out again because we have to fit the gear. Now, according to what I've read, you have to cut this gear. It's too long. I'm just looking at the one that's on the armature. Yeah, so it's probably going to have to be apparently. It apparently has to be about 4mm. They do give you a spare one in case you mess this up, but I'm going to have to cut this little gear so it's only 4mm long. So I'm going to have to shift my towel just now and onto my cutting mat. Okay, I think the best way to cut this is probably going to be to hold it. Let's do a measure first. It's going to have to be 4mm. It's a little bit annoying that they haven't been able to provide gears of the right size. So this is probably the trickiest bit of this whole operation. So I want to cut it about there. And once you get started, there we go. And we shall give it a wee bit of a file. Okay. It's hopefully done the trick. So we need to push this on, and hopefully this goes on fairly easily. I'm just going to try push, come on. There we go, once you get it started. Right, so that seems okay. Now, fit this back in. So essentially that's the motor installed. It's quite a nice design actually. Right, we put these screws back in. So far this seems quite an easy thing to do. So if it makes an improvement on the running, I might do the same to the Class 55, although I think that will be a bit trickier. But at least now I kind of know what I'm doing, I think. Got some soldering to do. Right, okay, that's the motor screwed in place. So we put the gears back. So that one goes in there. That one goes in there. And then that one goes in there and should engage with the motor, which it does. And then we put the clip on. Clip on. Okay, just going to do this wee test. Sitting nice and quiet. Okay, we shall see what it's like when it's all wired up into the locomotive. So this little diode, it has two little terminals, and one goes, this is for DC wiring, analog wiring. So one goes to the track pickup, this side goes to the track, and this side goes to the motor. So that is going to get soldered onto there. And then the wire from the pickup, this wire, will have to get soldered onto there. And then that will get soldered onto this wire. So I'm just going to try and desolder this wire. I'd rather desolder than cut the wire, because if I want to return this back to how it was, I would rather not cut the wires. Probably get my helping hands here, that's right. Would be a good idea. So I made a bit of a mess of filming soldering this. I had my helping hands in the way and you wouldn't have seen anything. So the wire coming from the pickup on the bottom of the motor bogie here is soldered to one terminal of the diode there. And then the red wire from the motor is soldered to the other terminal. So that should reduce the voltage coming in. The black wire from the motor is soldered to this wire, which goes to the pickup on the front bogie of the locomotive. So I'm placing the diode just on top there. It doesn't need fixing on or anything. You know, it would be nice if it stuck on, if it had a little bit self-adhesive stuff or something, but it'll sit there fine. I've tucked the red wire underneath it. It's not going to interfere with anything. The other wire is just going to hang free because the motor has to turn. It has to be able to move about. And we'll stick this back into the chassis, put all that together and see how it goes. So I was just putting this back together and I thought, why am I being so lazy? I've taken the old wire off that connects to the front bogie and put a thinner wire on and put on the heat shrink insulation. It just, I mean, it won't make any difference, but it just looks a bit neater than this ridiculous thick wire that Lima like to put in their locomotives. So this little heat shrink insulator, we'll just get a lighter on this, and that should be that. And there we go, now we can put the front bogie on and we are good to go. So there we go, job done. That was actually quite an easy process. I would quite happily do that again. So let's go and try this on the layout and see if it's actually made any difference. Right, okay, start turning the dial slowly. It's buzzing. Well, that was better. A wee bit jerky, but that was a lot better. And it's certainly a lot quieter. Okay, so I've hooked this up to some coaches. Let's just see how it does. Yeah, it's not bad really. Let's just try this again. Stutters a bit sometimes and then it goes. So it's definitely better than it was. So that's my Class 33 with a CD motor fitted. It still doesn't pull away that smoothly, but the CD motor definitely seems to have a bit more torque. So and it's certainly quieter and smoother. So that was an interesting thing to do. And now I know how to do it. I'd be very confident to do it to my Class 55. So there we go. CD motor conversion. Right, catch you later folks.